Alright, so welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be working on this AHM SW1 that I got for $5 recently. So, before any of that, I will just show you how this engine works before we get to working on it. Alright, so there, I've got the engine set up on the track, and I will give it some power. It runs. Although it's quite a bit noisy and stuttery, which is why I want to get this thing good restoration. So I'll take it over and take it back to the bench, and I will get to work on it. Now, before I get to working on this, I will say I have done a little bit just cosmetic to this thing, so I have taken the shell off. I had also discovered that just because, for whatever reason, it was missing this front weight. These are supposed to have both a front and rear weight, which you can see the rear weight in here. Which, another thing it's missing is the actual window glass. I plan to do something with this engine in the future. I don't know what. I also got rid of a lot of the not-so-great front handrail stuff here, since I can just redo that. I also tried to remove this red striping, but I found out that someone had just covered it with black paint for some unknown reason. So now it looks better, and it has this. And since there was no weight in the front here, I added, just if you saw my last video of how I tuned my freight cars, I added 2 of those weights to the front of this, just to help it out. So, with that out of the way, also, I probably covered this, but this back coupler is broken. I don't want to fix it because I'm not even sure if I'm going to reuse the same style of coupler. So for now, with this whole video, it won't have a rear coupler. The other thing I know, before actually getting to work on this stupid thing, is that the light is broken. So I plan to, after this video, replace it. For now, I'm just going to disconnect it. So, now I will actually get to work and I will get all my supplies ready. I believe I have all my tools out, so I will take this shell off. It isn't held on by very much, so I can just do that. As you can see, I've got the weights here. I'm just going to throw the shell to the side. I will put the weight in my parts holder. So this is the engine. There was another video in which one of my friends had asked me what was the drive system like inside of these, and why is it only rear-wheel drive and not front-wheel drive. This is the thing. So how AHM designed their engines pretty much made it so that the motor had to be off-center, so they couldn't do that. So this is just a little bit, just to explain to that one friend. Also, you can see the light, very broken, don't like how it looks. And just for the purposes of this, I'm going to leave it alone, but after this video, I'm going to rip out this light and replace it with something more modern. So, I think what I need to do to get started is just remove this one clip, which these also sometimes have a tendency to break, so I'm going to be quite careful with it. Which I think it might be stuck on this side. Also could have sworn this handrail wasn't broken. I might have done that just now, but whatever. And I fired the thing at myself, which is always quite fun. So now I can get this whole truck. I'm just going to leave that out for now, and I'm going to deal with the rest of this while I have easier access to it all. I think first up, I'm going to work on the motor commutator, which I want to try something with this because I plan to replace the motor. You can yell at me all you want for it, but I sort of want to try oiling the commutator. I've tried this on some blue box engines, and it seems to be perfectly fine. I want to see if I can do it on these AHM engines, since they tend to have a little bit of noise to them. I plan to eventually replace the motor, so if it dies, it's no biggie, but if it works, it might be something useful for me in the future. So I'll get into this. Other little thing, I've actually bought more Q-tips. These were, like, on sale, so I decided why not try them. They're not the typical style I like, but I do like how they might actually be a bit more stable, just because they've got the little bit in the center. They also seem to work really well. They cleaned off this commutator just about instantly. I'm going to go over it with my fiberglass pencil, but I think that got most of it. Another little thing, just while I'm doing this, I have wanted to get a tripod to make the angle for all this stuff better. So it probably won't be anytime soon, but for future restorations, I will probably have some sort of actual tripod next to me, which will make this all easier to see. So now, I'm going to put some 107 on these bearings. And some people will probably yell at me for this, but I personally just want to try it. I'm going to just dab, not too much, but a little bit on this commutator. A little bit more. Not too terrible of an amount, but I think that'll be good. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to rip these off, just in case they get damaged anymore later. I might leave them on, I'm not sure yet. Next thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to have to be careful so I don't break the coupler off this end. So just before we deal with the other truck, I want to get in here and clean up in this truck, because the actual contacts and everything are in here, not the other truck, which is why I was able to pull the other truck out, and I didn't attempt to do the same with this one. These trucks, honestly, are quite terrible. I don't like these truck covers. This one I'm also probably going to have to glue back on because it's so brittle, it broke off. So that's fun. I'll take these out and throw them in my parts bin. And I want to figure out a solution to this quickly, so I might just fix this off camera. I don't know. I'll come back in a minute once I got something thought up. I think I've got a decision. I'm just going to roll with it for the most part, and I'm going to use a little plastic cement on these ledges here just to try and sort of hold it on a little bit. Neither of these truck covers are actually really held on. I'm probably going to eventually get a 3D printer, and I'd probably reprint these parts in a new design because I don't like how they are. So eventually, this will just be a temporary thing. I'm not going to do much with this engine for a while as well, but I just wanted to get this video done and get this engine working better. So I'm going to get in here and clean this whole front truck up, which there isn't much to, as well as the wheels. Alright, so what I've decided is basically, since I really don't need to show the rest of this base for the rest of this video, aside from the end, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue this down just in the background and off camera. So I'm going to do that, set this shell aside in my little vise for a little bit, and then once that's being set, I will come back and we'll get to work on this one singular truck. So now that that's getting dealt with, we can move on to this truck. Which, again, this cover is pretty much broken. I'm going to throw the wheels in there and attempt not to forget about them. I'm going to pry the rest of this truck open. And pull these gears out. So these, for some reason, always tend to be really incredibly oily. So I'm going to work on this and speed it up for the most part and stop talking. Alright, so now I've got all the parts cleaned, and now I can put this pile of parts that used to be a truck back together into a truck. So I will get started on that. I don't think I need this. Alright, so it's taken ages, but this is finally back together. This really doesn't feel right, but I've tweaked with it all I can. I think there's something wrong with the actual gears themselves. I'm really second-guessing, just from this whole video, my actual plans with this unit, because it should, like my other one, be turning over freely, and it really isn't. I think a lot of the noise from beforehand was coming from the drive system. Even with actually adding oil, it still feels a little bit off, so there might actually be an issue with the gears or something, so I don't know. And I'm not going to make you suffer through me putting this back together, so ta-da! Wait, we're missing part of it. So now, actually, ta-da! Now we can go take this engine over to the tracks, and I will show you how it runs, which
I'm not expecting to be much of an improvement, honestly.
Alright, it's set up on the tracks. Let's see what it does. It isn't as bad as I thought it would be. It seems to work, it's just quite a bit noisy. I really do think this is a lot more an gearbox issue than an actual motor issue. I'm honestly thinking at this point just about getting rid of this engine and trying to cut my losses on it a bit. I mean, it's a $5 engine that I bought. I could probably sell it, make a little tiny bit, not too much, but it's a working engine now. So, I guess, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, just for fun, comment something funny, just so I can see how many people actually watched to this point in the video. But, thanks for watching. Comment something.